Okay. Perspective. I'm gonna try this. Instead of it hanging off my neck, I'll cut it off of the pole. See what that angle does. See if that makes it easier to watch. So this is really matted, like that armor mat to the skin. And my T84 is not doing it. It's not being able to catch that. So I'm gonna go surgical again. I'm gonna go all the way to that 30 to see if I can get it. You okay, buddy? Of course, he just moved where you can't see what I'm doing at all. Can you stand up, buddy? Ugh. Good boy. Oops. That didn't sound right. Huh. Good boy. Again, we've got Pyrenees skin, which is real foldy. Undercoat. It's a little fluffy straight hairs that'll pull out in little puffs, mixed up with Poodle guard hairs that are tall and firm. Pyrenees overcoat, which are long and firm. Poodle guard hairs are a lot like the main coat of a Pyrenees. But Poodle guard hairs are kinky, mixed with Poodle curly hair, and that creates helmets, armor. So this is a very sharp blade, so I'm really trying to avoid touching the actual skin at all. It's gonna rash just like his brother did by exposing the skin in the first place. I'm trying really hard none of the longer blades can cut through this. So I have to I'm going to rash him. There's no way around it. You can tell, like when I pull that up, I'm pushing against skin, which you should not do, because you see all this foldy, fat Pyrenees skin there's like no differentiating it from the hair. I need him to stand up so I have a better surface. Come on, Betty. Good, I can get that angle and get a little bit here. You can see what a slow process getting that little shell off of him, getting his armor is. This is why most groomers charge more. It's not a punishment. It just takes longer. It's harder on the equipment. I usually don't charge more because the dog needs it so bad on a first time or second time. But I will get more, I don't want to say strict, but I have a lot of grace for owners that love their dogs and don't understand their coat. But if you've gotten in this position more than once, and it's probably why the commercial groomers have this policy, because maybe they just get a lot more dogs than I do. They just get brazen, or they get a little hardened in their heart against the situation. You can't even see anything, you're just looking at a pile of fur. But if they want to, the next time they bring the dog in, which they should, 4 to 6 weeks is the best. 6 to 8 weeks is possible if you don't mind the occasional full shave down every so often, because sometimes 6 to 8 weeks is too long. And since these are outdoor living dogs, I would say the 4 to 6 weeks is a much better choice, because what happens is you can get a quick bath and blowout on them, so you don't treat all their whatevers, and keep them in good shape. If you wait to 8 weeks, you're going to have matting, and so you're risking the shave down, and at that point, I would start charging extra on a dog that's already established, because then we're not helping out someone who didn't know. And that's how I always feel when I do these guys for the first time. You know, I'm helping out someone that didn't know, didn't understand. But if we know now, and they choose to get to this condition again, then it is going to be another thing. Again, it's not punishment. It's just like, you know the work I have to do now, and it's a choice. Often when these dogs like this come in for the first time, their owners really didn't fully understand anything. That's one reason I record too. Everybody, that way, nobody likes the groomer giving them all this judgmental, oh gosh, mouthful of it. Usually it's judgment on the nails with poodles. For some reason, poodle owners want to rebel against the fact that poodles must have their nails done weekly in order to keep them short enough. I don't have to do it weekly. I'm going to teach you how to do it. But, I guess every 4 weeks after groomer, because they can really take it down a little further than would probably be the most. So if you are not on a 4-week schedule, you need to be doing your poodles nails at home. Anyway, nobody likes the judgment of, your dog's nails are too long. So they don't want to kind of dismiss it and move along. That's human nature. No judgment. I'm just saying that's what happens. You have to live in the what is. But once we know, and then we're letting our dog walk around hurting itself, then there's a different thing. It's probably why commercial groomers are more jaded than me, because they just see it too often. Poodle always was thought of as a dog that, for rich people. And if you're going to go pay for your dog's hair more than you spend on your own every month, maybe that's a choice that many people can't make. They're priced out of. It doesn't have to be. I have sold plenty of poodles to hunter, people that live out on farms, and they just shear them like they shear their goats, and their sheep. No problem. They just know what they're getting into. They just got to pull them up, shave them down. Poodles don't care. They don't mind being shaved down. They don't have to look so ruthless, but they do have to have maintenance. And so, if you're either going to do the maintenance yourself or pay for the maintenance, either way. If you've got Poodle in the mix, that's a reality. Sadly, Poodle owners, so you can get all the attributes of a Poodle without having to have the maintenance, because we're mixing this or that with it. And it's just not true. It's just a sad bummer. And before I started breeding, I thought a lot of things. And I learned a lot of things the hard way. So I still have a lot of grace for people that just didn't know, or they thought they believed something until they saw it different. So what happens is why there's that idea that there are no ethical poodle breeders. If you've bred more than one litter, you know that your dogs are not hypoallergenic. You have learned that the adult poodles still need hair maintenance. And so if you continue telling people that, just to sell your poodles, you are lying. Or your doodles, you are lying. That's why we kind of get jaded to the point that there are no ethical doodle breeders. Kind of almost like a religion or a political ideology, like just this refusal to see what is right in front of their face. Anyway, ideal in what is. Lots of grace. But what is. Pyrenees are absolutely supposed to live outside. These guys can that blade is hot. Up, up. See the this blade's gonna be done after this room. That's another reason they charge more. The blades can't do this amount of dirty work and stay sharp. So then I have to send it off to the sharpener. And it was perfectly sharp when I started because this was a brand new blade on their first dog. So that's a $40 cost. That's another reason they upcharge for the matted. It's not just a punishment, it's just it costs an equipment. So I won't be able to use this blade. I have to go ahead and buy another one while this one is getting sharpened. After this dog, I hope that you see it should be going through this kind of hair like butter, and it's not. So that's very tender skin. That's there. Alright, we're gonna go back to trying to free the peen. Got it knocked right up to it. I once nicked a poodle right on the tip of his penis. It was a terrible healing process. And you have a nick right there because that skin is very tender. And so of course he wanted to lick it, you just couldn't get him to stop licking it. It was just bothersome to him because it hurt. So I try to be super careful and always never go towards that opening, always away. Always going down the shaft that direction. Killing my back, buddy. Until I get well past the skin, so that I'll never do that again. Sadly, most of the things I'm pretty legalistic about is because I've done them wrong the first time. That's why I have grace for everybody and everything. I like to learn things the hard way. I don't like it. I learn things the hard way. My little pea brain takes a while to take in information. It's okay, Daddy. It's okay, Daddy. I'm gonna try to move this up. I think that I'm having to use too much of my muscle, and that video is going to be ridiculously hard to watch with all this shaking and jumping. I may take out whole segments. Ugh. Maybe not. I always think I'm going to edit more than I do because I just end up not having time. Well, I asked because as his adrenaline was going up a few times, he really had some coughing. And you can ask your dad. I am not a vet, exclamation point. However, that signals to me in my experience possible heartworm. So you may want to talk to him about the treatment for heartworm and the risks, and maybe go down and get a quick test to confirm or, dissuade. I personally would treat it at home with the ivermectin, but you can talk to your dad about the risk of adult heartworms dying in the heart. That's always a possibility. I'll send a PDF with the invoice this time about what I know. It really only needs to be given every 6 to 8 weeks, period. But sadly in Texas, since we have mosquitoes year round, live in Texas and have mosquitoes year round nearly, I only hold back the heartworm during snow, LOL, which is never LOL. However, so I definitely have my opinions against both the brands that your dad sent. Both of the brands that your dad sent. I typically the Poodle part doesn't do good with a lot of those neurotoxins. You're risking a lot of seizure or neurological problems down the road that most vets will not see as connected to the quote monthly unquote, because they quote monthly unquote. And so I risk being offensive. I know your dad probably may have some different opinions than I do, so I'm not trying to be offensive. I'm just telling you what I know. If I had a dog that lives in the field, the safest option is Lucaron. I'll send a picture and a link. Much less expensive. And actually needed the flea tick. For poodles. I'll send a link in the invoice for the cheapest place. all that to say, I can give him a dose today of heartworm slash dose today of ivermectin only. This actually has a couple more things. A general dewormer. I deworm my dogs in April and October, or as needed. I deworm every April and October and any other time I have an indication. These ingredients are safe and will in no way interact negatively with anything you've already given him. This only handles worms. This is not a preventative. Okay, so a little parent communication. Are you excited? I can tell you are, because now that I freed your peen is out. So you got adrenaline pumping through you. I know how these little boys work. Doesn't necessarily mean you're happy. It can also mean you've got stress. You got a lot going on in your little boy brain, and having maybe released your penis out of that casing, your little inner shaft is feeling some freedom. Are you feeling some freedom? And they have to pull that buddy back in there, buddy, eventually. I don't want to touch the peen. No, I don't. But he is free now. The peen is free. The peen is free. No, you're not really seeing anything. Maybe I can change this again. Someone suggested I just get a GoPro and wear it on my head. But, like right now, his head is on top of my head, so all you have is this big old picture of his mouth as he's slobbering onto my headphones. So, today I'm feeling a little bit like the lady, girl with the dog, who obviously I am nowhere near close to her capabilities, but you have to give her some serious credit for her editing ability. You never get sick watching her videos. You always see all of the interesting stuff. So she's got some seriously good editing skills. Good boy. Along with good animal skills. Good boy. Good animal mojo and good editing skills. Twofer. I don't have good editing skills. I'm pretty decent with the animal mojo. Come on, baby, we gotta do this. Yeah, we're gonna have to do this. You want me to do it this way? Good boy, is it hot? It is a little hot already. It's hot because the blade is so dull. And you have all that friction with so much dirt, even though I stopped frequently clean the blades. It just causes heat. So the blades get really hot really fast. So I really need to be able to get in there. I'm going to have to switch blades. My T84 may have just bit the dust. Hold on. Ugh. Hey, so talk to text is so hard. So yeah, so that's what I was saying. If your dad's a vet, you might want to call him because I'm not a vet, but I'm just saying what I know, and then you can figure out what you know too. That kind of cough, and you'll see it in the video when he's getting excited about something and he starts to cough. That is one symptom that might indicate, I'm not saying he has it, but I just kind of alert to that because he's not pulling against his neck, so it's not like his trachea is getting any stress. He's just got an adrenaline dump and cortisol in there, and then he coughs. And so you can ask your dad about what that might indicate. And I'm just saying what it could indicate, I'm not a vet, is that he does have heartworms in his heart, because what happens is the blood flow increases. And because your body's expecting to have an increased blood flow, it's beating harder. If there's a bunch of blockage because there's adult worms have managed to grow inside the heart, then we've got that coughing that happens. And it could be something else. I'm not a vet. I'm just saying, I know I use ivermectin on all my dogs. I have to use it year round. I don't do the monthly that you showed me the pictures of because it has the pesticide stuff in it that it has against the fleas and the ticks, or stuff I don't want in my dogs. But ivermectin is a uber safe medicine, and it is the treatment if he does have heartworms. You will just use a higher dose and more frequent. You'll go on like a 30 or 40 day, I don't remember, I'd have to look it up, but you can deep dive and find it, of a higher dose of ivermectin, and then it'll clear the heartworms. But there's a risk factor involved in that, and that's why the vets like to do it and don't tell people to do it. Because if you have a bunch of adult worms die in their heart, then you've got blockage, and then they may die because now they've got dead stuff in their heart. So there's risks. If I give them a regular dose of ivermectin today, I'm not increasing any risk at all, because it's not enough to affect what's in his heart if they've gotten to adult. The regular dose of ivermectin handles the larvae that are running around in the bloodstream before they make it to the heart. So if I gave him the thing today, there's no risk. It's just going to stop any new ones from getting to the heart, because the larvae stage, it interrupts the larvae stage in the bloodstream. What happens is if they get past the larvae stage and they get into the heart, that's when you start to have thoughts. So there's all I know. Confirm, deny with your dad, and he probably knows more than I do. But I'm also saying the things he's sending you are things I wouldn't use if I had Poodle in the dog. So does that make more sense than what I tried to type out? It's because he had an adrenaline dump, and so the cortisol, so it's almost like having a panic attack almost. Have you ever had a panic attack?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so his body is saying, hurry up and put me in fight or flight a little bit. But if the heart has blockage, it's trying to deliver more blood to the body, and it's not getting the oxygen it needs. So then the lungs react in such a way that says, hey, I'm not getting the oxygen I need. The hormones are telling me I need more oxygen, and I'm not getting the blood supply for it. Does that make sense? That's the indication that I have that would say that. Now, again, I'm not a vet. I only know what I've seen. And so your dad may say, oh, there's 400 other reasons this could be happening. And I don't know those other reasons. And so I'm just only saying the risks I have actually encountered in my life of dogness. And so were it my dog, I would risk the heartworm treatment because you can't leave it. So, and you can deep dive on that. Your dad may be able to send you the pills, and you won't have to, go to Tractor Supply and buy the stuff I buy. But you can find the treatment. It's like a 30 or 40 day treatment, and it's just a higher dose of ivermectin. You're using the same thing. It's just that you're risking. So you may want to go down and pay for the heartworm test. But you know what I would do? I would treat to get the larvae out of the blood first. So you're not getting, because they will, almost all Texas dogs are going to have some larvae in their blood if they haven't been on ivermectin. Whether they've gotten it into the heart and allowed to mature or not is the question, because we live in a state that has mosquitoes nearly year round, and that's how they're transferred. And so if we lived in Maryland, we would only have to give ivermectin once a year in the that little brief little mosquito season they have, but we don't. So I avoid all kinds of chemicals. I don't like it, and I've found the safest things. But one of the ivermectin is one of the safest drugs on the planet, so I don't mind using it. And it wouldn't be the ivermectin that killed him. It would be if he did have adult heartworms and they died and then they created a blockage. But I'd talk it over with your dad. There's no harm in me giving him this today, but it'll just, if he hasn't had ivermectin in the last 6 to 8 weeks, I would say, because so everybody does the life cycle on a monthly, right? Because they're just trying to make it easy for us stupid humans. But we really only need it every 8 weeks for the life cycle of the heartworm. I have a lot of dogs that they just get their heartworm here because I give it to them as part of their groom. I know who they are. It's marked on their card. But that way they're extending it out. It's like I'm for chemicals that work. I just use it least. Least is best. The reason they go on a monthly is because they're looking at keeping that flea pesticide in them, running around their blood, which I don't want in my dogs. And that needs to be given. And plus, it's easier for us dumb humans to remember first of the month than it is to try to do 8-week cycle, because it's like first of the month, middle of the month, third of the month, fifth of the month. So it's harder for us to remember. But anyway, there's all that.
So, the vet, when I called, because I did call, actually, because I have a cat who's coughing. I had called the vet a couple weeks ago about getting them all heartworm tested. It was going to be like $800 to get
Ugh.
all of the tests and everything done. And so, that's when I had talked to my dad. And so he sent me all the stuff. But I'm thinking, because the dog here, she was heartworm positive last year, so
Yeah.
it's around. It's around.
Well, I mean, they can't pass it to dog, but if they're in the same environment that dog was able to get it from the mosquitoes, then he probably pulled it from the environment as well, or there's a risk. So the risk is let him live with heartworms, and maybe he'll never die and he'll just have a slow and he'll die of a heart attack one day. Or, treat it aggressively, do the ivermectin 30-day, you're going to give it to him every day at a slightly higher dose. I would buy it. I'll give you some links of getting it cheap. And then the risk is we've broken free we've got a dead heartworm in the heart that creates a blockage and we die of a heart attack. So it might, you just have to weigh out your options if you think that it might be positive and you just want to treat it. If he doesn't have heartworm, the 30-day ivermectin will not hurt him. Ivermectin's the safest drug on the planet. Don't believe the hype about it being like horse dewormer crap. This is a drug that is used all over the planet for humans and dogs alike. Anyway, it's got one of the safest track records.
I have human ivermectin that I buy in Mexico. I haven't taken it, but I have it.
And well, then when you do your deep dive, you may want to use it on him and replenish your own stockholds of the ivermectin. Your only risk, if you don't do the test and I'm just going to treat, it won't hurt if he doesn't have it. There's a risk that if he did have adult heartworms in his heart, that it flushed out. But I would ask your dad, because I really don't know the answer to this question. When the vets do the treatment, is there any less risk of those adult heartworms breaking free? I don't think it lowers the risk if you do the treatment at home or you pay a vet to do it. But maybe he has some insight I don't have of why it might be worth the $800. But I think the treatment is the same as the preventative. Except for you have to change doses and you do it more frequent. Huh?
Yeah, the 800 was to test all 6 dogs and cats, and I wanted to deworm, because I wanted our female goat is very, very susceptible to parasites, and her stool's loose again, and she seems to have parasites again. Like, we had to get her a blood transfusion last year.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
Which is what the vet had told me to dose everybody with, and I actually don't know if
Panicure is fine. It's very safe. When I dose my dogs in the April and October. Let me think of what Panicure's active ingredient is. It's either fenbendazole or pyrenetyl palmate, which is very safe. So you don't have to worry about that. You can get it cheaper at Tractor Supply than through your vet, though. Anytime you need,
we got a Tractor Supply because that's what she told me to do, but it was like only Panicure Plus has the ivermectin, so yeah, I'll talk to my dad. I may just bring him in to get a test to see. Were you saying that it's to wait a certain amount of days after this dose to get him tested?
Only if you thought it may not make a difference. I am not exactly sure how they test it, but he most likely has immature larvae. Almost all dogs in Texas are going to have that if they haven't had in their blood. The ivermectin kills the larvae in the blood before it gets to the heart. So if they tested him now, I would say 100% they're going to find probably some larvae in his blood, which, yeah, it's fenbendazole. Fenbendazole is what is Panicure. That's what I thought it was. Fenbendazole is also one of the other most safe drugs on the planet. If you really want to deep dive on what the active ingredient of Panicure is, it cures a lot of stuff other than just worms. But so deep dive on fenbendazole and you'll laugh, or you'll be amazed. Whatever. I don't know where your mind is at on natural stuff. Yep, it's an amazing drug. So it's very safe, and it's kind of the frontline wormer. It's one of the things that I would use. You can use that on that, twice a year worming. I just do it in the spring and in the fall, because that's when critters are most active. And then also if I just see signs, I'm very. So I'll send you a link. I'll send you a link of the cheapest place I found it, because I buy it in its pure powder form. And so it has 27 milligrams, or 227. I can't remember exactly the gram, because metric is still like confounds me, but the correct dose in each little scoop that comes with it, and it's like $30. And so you're getting like I don't know, 150 of those boxes in this one little jar. And so it's a lot easier to throw into their food or whatever. So I'll send you that link. If you have a bunch of animals, I think everyone should have that fenbendazole which is Panicure, in their cabinet for whatever. And it's also, actually, believe it or not, if you've got an upset stomach, it's actually very soothing, fenbendazole, on their stomach. It's almost like it's not a Pepto-Bismol, but for however it works, it'll also make them feel better. So isn't that interesting?
Yeah, it is. I'll probably bring Leo and Brody, one of our cats, in for the heartworm test, and then just do the rest on.
And if they don't have, if they're using ivermectin, I don't know what the vet will say to use. Because there may be other ways that they have to treat it as well. But I would really ask them to give you the ivermectin protocol so that you could repeat it at home without having to buy whatever they're going to sell. Because the ivermectin you can get in the higher dose, you've already done that research. And then you can treat everybody. Because if they don't have it, ivermectin will not hurt them. If they do have it, you'll have a small risk of the large worm die-off, and you can discuss with them what that looks like or means, and so you have to just choose that risk.
Okay, I'll call my dad later, and what time do you think you'll be ready? Because I'm picking up, but I'm also picking up the kids in Bastrop, and so I'm trying to figure out if I need to do Leo before or after school pickup.
Probably I'm about half. Not half. I'm about but a third. So I've been at it for about an hour and a half. I probably need at least 2, possibly 3 more hours. Does that help? And you don't have to come right at that moment. I'm not going anywhere. Well, that's not true. I'm going somewhere later tonight, probably later than you're going to want to pick up. So it will be won't interfere with you. So if you can't come in that exact window, that's okay. I am delivering a dog later, about 8.
Right after pickup, I pick up the kids at school at 3:30. Sometimes it takes till like 3:40, and then I can drive straight from there.
Yeah, perfect. He'll be done for sure by then, and I don't need to deliver the other dog yet.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so very, very, very much.
Yep.
And I'll start digging into some research here.
Okay. All right. Sorry and thanks. Bye.
Bye.
So I'm going to sit down and write it all out. Probably be tonight. I've got appointments right now. So I can't tell you, but I just wanted to tell you that I am writing it all up.
So I'm going to sit down and write it all out. It'll probably be tonight. I've got appointments right now, so I can't tell you. But I just wanted to tell you that I am writing it all up.
Stay. Am I still recording?